One day, my mom smirked at me in front of everyone and said, "You're not even in the will." That night, I texted her, "I'm done paying your bills," while I was canceling all the payments I'd been making for them. No. She's begging me to save their house before it's too late. My name's Daniel, I'm 32, and until recently, I thought my relationship with my parents was pretty solid. Not perfect, but okay. I always knew they liked my younger brother Ryan more, but I never thought it would go this far. Ryan was their favorite for sure. Growing up, he got to do things I wasn't allowed to do and got praised for the smallest stuff. When he messed up, they made excuses like, "He's young, he just needs time. Be patient, Daniel." Meanwhile, I had to be the responsible one, the mature one setting the example. So I focused on school, got a steady job, and built my life. Ryan, not so much. At 28, he was still bouncing between jobs, living with our parents rent-free, and they acted like he had it harder than me. Whenever I pointed out how unfair it was, they'd say, "Daniel, you're independent. Ryan needs us more." That was their excuse for everything. If I got a cheap birthday gift but Ryan got the newest gaming system, they'd say, "You make good money now, buy it yourself." If I had to do chores while Ryan chilled on the couch, they'd say, "He's just not as responsible." If Ryan crashed their car and they paid for it, but I bought my first car with my own money, they'd say, "You can handle it, Daniel." For years, I just let it slide. Didn't want to make a fuss. Then I found out about their will. I'd been helping them with bills, mortgage, repairs, medical stuff, all without asking for anything back. But one day, I saw their will sitting on the kitchen table. And my name wasn't on it. Ryan was the only one listed. When I asked my mom about it, she just shrugged. "It makes sense. You have a steady job. Ryan needs the help more." I was shocked. "So because I worked hard and supported you, I get nothing?" She acted like I was crazy. "Daniel, you don't need it. It's just money. You'll be fine." That broke something inside me. I'd always been there for them, but when it came down to it, I wasn't really their son, just their backup plan. So I made a choice. I stopped paying for everything. No more mortgage help, no more repairs, no money. At first, they didn't say anything. Maybe they thought I was busy. But a month later, I got a text from my mom. No hello, no asking how I was. Just, "The rent is due." I stared at the message, angry and hurt. Then I texted back calmly, "I'm sure Ryan will take care of it." No argument. No drama. Just moved on. Almost immediately, my phone started buzzing, calls from my mom. I ignored them. Then a text, "Daniel, pick up. This isn't a joke." I left it there. Didn't want to deal with the guilt trip. Later, I listened to the voicemail, and yep, it was exactly what I expected. My mom called me with a heavy, disappointed voice. "Daniel, I don't get what's wrong with you. This is so selfish. Your dad and I have always done everything for you. Is this really how you want to be, as a son who turns his back on us when we need you most? Ryan can't help, he's struggling. We thought you'd understand. Please call me back." I didn't call. A few hours later, my dad sent me a message. He hardly ever texts, so I knew Mom had asked him to do it. "Daniel, we need to talk. This is serious. Call your mom." I ignored it. For the first time, I felt something new, control. I'd always been the dependable son, the one who never asked for anything. But the moment I stopped being their go-to, they lost it. Then Ryan jumped in. "Dude, what's your problem? Mom and Dad are freaking out. Just pay the rent like you always do. Why make this a big deal?" I almost laughed. Like always. As if I had to keep their whole life stable just because I was the responsible one, and Ryan got to relax with no worries. So I replied simply, "Not my problem." Ryan shot back right away. "What? So you have the money? Stop being a jerk." I just put my phone down and didn't reply. It was wild how fast he showed his real attitude. "No, are you okay?" "No, I didn't know how much you were helping." Just anger because I stopped being their safety net. I expected more texts or angry calls. But what I didn't expect was what happened next. The next morning, my aunt, my mom's sister, texted me. "Hey, sweetheart, your mom called me crying. She says you're refusing to help and they might lose the house. What's going on? I thought you were close." I sighed. Of course, the family drama was starting. I took a deep breath and replied, "Hey, Aunt Grace, thanks for checking in. I'd explain, but maybe ask Mom why she cut me out of the will while still expecting me to pay all their bills. Let me know what she says." There was a long silence. Then finally, "Wait, what?" I smiled to myself. That was my moment to sit back and watch the drama unfold. Now it wasn't just me and my parents. The whole family was about to find out what was really going on. Grace didn't reply right away. Maybe she was pressing my mom for answers or just processing everything. Either way, I wasn't going to chase her. I went about my day, feeling a rare relief from finally stepping out of their control. But that relief didn't last long. That afternoon, my mom texted me again. "How dare you tell Grace? This is private family stuff. No one else should know. You're making us look bad." There it was. "No, we're sorry. No, let's talk. No, we didn't realize how unfair we were. Just angry that their secret was out." I paused, then replied calmly. "She got involved the moment you told her. If you didn't want this out, maybe you shouldn't have done what you did." That shut her up for a while. Then Ryan messaged again. "Mom is literally crying now. Are you proud? Happy you made your own mom cry?" I shook my head at his message. The emotional blackmail was so obvious, it was almost funny. If she's upset, it's because she's starting to see that choices have consequences. That's not my problem. I sent it. This time, Ryan didn't reply right away. Maybe he ran back to Mom and Dad to tell them what I said so they could all be mad at me together. Meanwhile, I was finally starting to feel some relief. 4 years, I'd been the reliable one. The son who always showed up and took responsibility whenever Mom and Dad let Ryan just slide through life without any real consequences. And what did I get for all that? Nothing. Not even a mention in their will. I'd missed vacations, skipped hanging out with friends, even waited to buy my own place, all because I was always helping them. And they never once said thanks. Never showed any appreciation. I was done. A few hours later, my phone rang. This time, I answered. It was Aunt Grace. "Hey," I said, trying to keep calm. "Hi, Daniel," she said carefully. I could tell she was choosing her words. "I just talked to your mom." I waited. She told me, well, a very different story. I almost laughed. Let me guess, she made me out to be a selfish, ungrateful son who just abandoned them? She sighed. More or less. I leaned back. Did she mention I've been paying their bills all these years? Or that they left me out of the will but gave everything to Ryan? No, she didn't say that. Of course not, I said calmly. But that's the truth. Grace sighed again. Daniel, honestly, I had no idea. I really don't blame you. That surprised me. Really? Absolutely. I love your mom, but she's always favored Ryan. I think she just assumed you'd always be there to fix things. That you'd never walk away. Well, I said, she guessed wrong. Grace was quiet for a moment, then asked, so, what now? I took a deep breath. Now, they figure it out themselves. I'm done being their safety net. She chuckled softly. Honestly, good for you. We talked a bit more, and just before we hung up, Grace said something that stuck with me. I don't think this is over. They'll probably try something. Be careful, Daniel. She wasn't wrong. That evening, Ryan texted me. Fine. If you want to be a selfish jerk, go ahead. But don't come back when you realize you messed up. I stared at it for a moment and shook my head. Mess up. I hadn't done anything wrong. For the first time in years, I felt like I was finally doing the right thing. But Ryan's message made one thing clear. They weren't going to quit easily. The next morning, I woke up to loud banging on my front door. Not a friendly knock. More like someone trying to break it down. I knew exactly who it was before I even looked. For a second, I thought about ignoring it, letting them stand there. But I figured if I didn't open, they'd just keep knocking until the neighbors complained. With a sigh, I opened the door. There they were, my parents and Ryan. Mom stood with her arms crossed, looking annoyed. Dad hung back a bit, quiet like usual, ready to back her up. And Ryan wore that smug smirk he always does when he thinks he's winning. I leaned on the doorframe, arms crossed. Well, this is a surprise. Mom didn't waste time. Daniel, we need to talk. I laughed dryly. Oh, now you want to talk. Not when you cut me out of the will. Not when you made me pay your bills while giving Ryan everything. But now it's urgent. Dad looked at me like I was being unreasonable. Son, can we come inside? I pretended to think, then shook my head. No. Say whatever you have to say right here. Ryan let out a sarcastic breath. You're kidding. Not at all. Mom scoffed, clearly not used to being told no. Daniel, you're being immature. Immature? I raised an eyebrow. Funny, coming from people who just showed up uninvited, pounding on my door like I owed them money. Her face flushed, but she tried to stay calm. Look, she said, switching to that guilt tone I know well, we get you're upset. We know you feel left out. But try to be logical. I laughed out loud. Logical? After everything you've done? Dad, who'd been quiet, finally spoke. Son, you have a good job and a stable future. Ryan needs more support. I looked over at Ryan, arms crossed, acting like he was above it all. He needs help, I echoed. He's 30 years old. Not a kid anymore. He's been handed every opportunity while I had to work hard for everything. And now, after all that, you think he deserves everything, and I get nothing. Ryan just shrugged with that smirk. Not my problem. You didn't fight for it. I blinked, stunned by how bold he was. Fight for it? Fight for what? For their affection. For a fair share of what should have been equal. Mom waved her hand dismissively. Oh, stop being so dramatic. It just made sense. You don't need the money, Daniel. That's not the point, I snapped. It's not about needing it. It's about what's right. You used me, my time, my money, my support, for years. And when it counted, you tossed me aside. Her eyes flashed. We're your parents, Daniel. We raised you. The least you can do is show some respect. I laughed bitterly. Respect? From people who never showed me any. Ryan rolled his eyes. God, you're so dramatic, throwing a fit like you're some victim. I turned to him, voice cold. You talk about struggle. When was the last time you had a real job without their help? He opened his mouth but stopped. Oh, right. Never. The smugness disappeared, but before he could say anything, Mom cut in sharply. Enough. Then she took a breath, smoothing her tone. Look, Daniel, this isn't how I wanted it, but family supports each other. I could hear the trap. Aha, I muttered, giving her nothing. She sighed like it drained her. The mortgage is due. I raised an eyebrow. And you're short this month? I actually laughed. Seriously? After everything you just said, defending your choices, you're still here asking me for money. Her mouth tightened. Daniel, we're asking you to do what's right. There it was, the guilt, the pressure, the same expectation that no matter how they treated me, I'd bail them out. I took a breath, looked each of them in the eyes, and said, no. Mom recoiled like I hit her. Excuse me. No, I said again calmly. I'm done. No more money. Not now. Not ever. Ryan whistled low. So that's it. You're really gonna let your own parents lose their house over some grudge? I looked at him. You live there too, don't you? Maybe you should start paying for something. His face darkened. You're selfish, Daniel. Mom wasn't finished. Daniel, she said quietly but tensely, is this really what you want? To cut ties over money? I stared back, steady. That's rich. You're the one who walked away first. She opened her mouth to argue, but I stopped her. You made your choice. You picked Ryan. You excluded me. Now I'm making mine. I'm done. I stepped back and closed the door without another word. For a few seconds, silence. Then Mom's voice, muffled but angry through the door. This isn't the end, Daniel. I smirked. No, it probably isn't. I knew they were about to realize just how badly they'd screwed up. Mom wasn't the type to give up easily when she thought she was owed something. Sure enough, the banging started again. Louder, angrier. Daniel! Mom shouted, voice cracking. You're making a huge mistake. You'll regret this. I leaned against the door, arms crossed, listening as she ranted. Dad muttered something I couldn't catch, probably trying to calm her. But Ryan, he had no patience. You're such a selfish jerk. You know that. We looked after you for years. That made me laugh. I cracked the door just enough to glare at him. You really looked out for me? That's funny, Ryan, because I remember hustling through college with 2 jobs while you were living off Mom and Dad. I even lent you money you never paid back. I covered bills while you just chilled. His confident smirk faded for a second, but he quickly tried to act tough again. Well, I'm the one they trusted with the estate. Maybe you're just bitter because you weren't good enough. I took a deep breath, refusing to get mad and give him what he wanted. Instead, I smiled calmly. Good luck with that estate. Hope it helps when you can't cover the mortgage next month. Then I shut the door. No knocking this time, just silence. Later, I heard Mom's voice, softer but still sharp. This isn't over, Daniel. I smiled to myself. Yes, Mom. It actually is. The next few days were quiet but tense. I expected some drama, maybe passive-aggressive texts or guilt trips, but nothing. No calls, no messages. It felt like the world had shifted. For the first time, I wasn't anxious. No guilt from Mom or fake apologies from Dad. They were gone, and I could finally breathe. 2 weeks later, I came home from work and saw a plain white envelope taped to my door. My name was written in handwriting I instantly recognized. I tore it open, half expecting some manipulation, and yep, that's what it was. Daniel, this is your last chance. You're letting pride ruin everything. Ryan's the executor, but you're still family. Don't make this harder than it has to be. Come back before you regret it. No name, just the same old threats in a new package. I balled it up and threw it away. A few days later, an email showed up, from Mom's account. Daniel, I really thought you'd come around. You always said family comes first, but now you're turning your back. Things are falling apart, and we need you. Ryan's messing everything up. Please, let's fix this. That time, I felt irritation. The nerve, trying to guilt me for a mess they created, acting like family mattered when it was clear Ryan was the favorite all along. I took a deep breath and deleted the email without replying. That's when I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. And Ryan, still silent. The cocky confidence was gone, replaced by what felt like desperation. Honestly, I was surprised. Ryan, who always thought he was untouchable, never showed up with an apology. Not once. Then, one afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Mom, crying. Daniel, please. You have to come over. Ryan lost the house. He's ruining everything. We have nowhere else to go. Please, we need you. But for once, I felt nothing. No sadness, no guilt, no obligation. If anything, I felt free. This was the moment everything flipped. I stayed quiet for a moment, letting the silence sink in. I could hear how desperate she was, waiting for me to jump in and fix Ryan's mess. But I refused. Finally, I said, calm and steady. No, this isn't my problem to fix. You always treated him like the golden child. Well, now it's time to deal with the fallout. You trusted him. Don't expect me to clean it up. She was silent for a bit, then whispered, Daniel, please. I don't know what else to do. I didn't hesitate. You should have thought about that before deciding I wasn't good enough to be family, I said coldly. I hung up. Weeks passed with no calls, no texts, no updates. And oddly enough, I felt lighter, as if years of bitterness and manipulation were finally off my shoulders. One day while grocery shopping, I saw Dad in the parking lot, walking toward an old beat-up car with some bags. I hadn't seen him in weeks. I thought about saying hi, but something told me there was nothing left to say. So I walked away, ignoring him calling my name. That was the last time I saw him. Now, a year later, I haven't heard from Mom, Dad, or Ryan. Sometimes I wonder if they're still struggling or if they realize how much damage they caused. But honestly, I'm good. For the first time in forever, I'm putting myself first. So Reddit, what do you think? Was I too harsh? Should I have tried to fix things instead of cutting them off? I'd love to hear your thoughts.